Hi there. Okay, we're going to do 2.3 order of operations with powers, and this starts on page 64. Okay, and before we start, we want to make sure that we are comfortable with a couple skills, and the first one is adding integers. So although I don't think that this is going to be very difficult for you, we'll just do a couple. Okay, so the first one says, if I'm looking under the check, 1a says -3 plus -4, okay? So what's the answer there? That's the same thing as saying -3 minus 4, okay? And negative subtract a negative makes an even bigger negative number, so that answer would be -7. Right on, excellent. And then if I looked at B, okay, we have 6 plus -2. Okay, if I want to get rid of and solve this, and we're adding two integers together, that would be the same thing as saying 6 minus 2, right? Because a positive times a negative is a negative. 6 minus 2, 4. Okay, so there we go. That is just quickly checking that we can add integers, and now we'll take a look at subtracting. Let's do a couple. Let's go subtracting. Integers. Okay, so in the subtracting integers, it talks about, under the check, 1a has -6 minus 2. Okay, so if we want to solve that, that would be the same thing as saying -6 minus 2. Negative subtract another negative number is just a bigger negative number. Okay, and b has 2 minus -8. Oh, sorry, that's a 6. Okay, that's the same thing, getting rid of the brackets. Negative times a negative is positive. 2 plus 6, which gives us +8. Okay, and if you're taking a look at the top box up here, where it talks about modeling, and they're using algebra tiles. Okay, just squares that help us represent one, or help us represent numbers either positively or negatively. And we'll be drawing these out a lot later. So it's a good idea to draw it out yourself and try it, or you can cut out pieces of paper. That works too. Okay, the big thing here is that, like here it shows modeling +3. Okay, that'd be 3 empty squares. But if we needed more numbers, and we want to subtract a bigger number, you would just add a positive and a negative and a positive and a negative. That would mean a 0, right? This is 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1. That would be still +3. Now we'd be able to take away 6 tiles. So try and work through that, okay? And it might take a little bit. You might not be able to feel super comfortable with it. I'll see if I can find an app for us to play with these, okay? So next up, when we turn the page, is dividing integers, okay? Did they not have anything with multiplying? That's interesting. Okay, so dividing integers, same kind of a thing. Okay, I'll just scroll that up a little bit. Okay, so under the check, 1a says -4 divided by 2. Okay, what does that equal? So a negative number divided by a positive number is still going to be negative. 4 divided by 2, 2. Okay, and we'll do b as well. So here we have -6 divided by -3, okay? A negative divided by a negative is going to be a positive number. 6 divided by 3 is 2, okay? So remember, in the booklet here it says when you have different signs, their quotient is negative. Remember that quotient means divide and product means multiplying, okay? Okay, let's get down to business. order of operations with powers. And hey, we've already done this. Like, we have already done order of operations. It's just coming up again, but this time the focus is on the powers, okay? So I'm going to turn my page here. Okay, so they have, let's do here, let's see, top of the page here. So adding and subtracting with powers. Okay, so regardless of what's going on, I'm still using BEDMAS, okay? So I'm going to put that on my page so I always have it as a reference. Brackets, exponents, division, multiplication, addition, and subtraction. And remember, you can do either of these first. Just go from left to right. And same thing with this one, left to right. Take a look what happens first. Okay, so let's take a look at the example on page 67. Example A says 2 cubed plus 1. Okay, so we don't have any brackets, but we do have exponents. Okay, so the first thing I would do is I would look at 2 cubed. So that's the same thing as saying 2 times 2 times 2 plus 1. Okay, next, multiplication. Okay, 2 times 2 times 2, that is 8 plus 1, and now I can do my addition, 9. Awesome. Okay, not that bad. B has 8 minus 3 squared. What does that equal? Okay, so again, we're going to take a look at the exponents first. So 8 minus 3 times 3, because I have 2 3's. 8 minus 3 times 3 is 9. And now I can do my subtraction. 8 minus 9, negative 1. Okay? And then the last example, it has 3 minus 1 cubed. Okay, so you notice here we have brackets. You have to do what's inside the brackets first. 3 minus 1 is 2. And then the exponent comes after. Now we can work on the exponent, which is 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Okay, and once you get the hang of it, I'm okay if you skip this middle part. Okay, it's just showing that you understand repeated multiplication and what that power means. Okay, turn the page. It's like the book, The Monster at the End of This Page in Sesame Street. If you don't know it, you should check it out. But otherwise, I love that book. It's an all-time favorite, and every time you turn the page, it's what's happening to Grover, but meanwhile, it's just Grover all along. Okay, next page, 68, evaluate. 1A says 4 squared plus 3. Okay, so I want you to write that out. 3 steps. Take your time. Okay, so exponent first, that would be 4 times 4 plus 3. Now I can do my multiplication. Now I can add those two things together, 19. Okay, so I like how in your booklet it guides you to how to do the work. Okay, and at the beginning it really guides you, and then it starts to give you more and more leeway. Okay, so let's do B. 5 squared minus 2 squared. Okay, try it, and then let's check our answer. So 5 squared is 2 5s. 2 squared is 2 2s. 25 minus 4, 21. Did you get the same thing I did? I'm sure you did. Okay, and we'll do C, and then D you'll do on your own. Okay, 2 plus 1 squared. It's the same thing as saying, right on, 3 squared, because we take care of what's inside the brackets first. And we get 9. Excellent. Okay, so I think you get the drift there. Let's take a look at multiplying and dividing with powers. Oh. Okay, multiplying. Okay, so here you have to take a look at what kind of brackets you have, and that tells you what you're going to start with first, right? So again, BEDMAS, B-E-D-M-A-S, okay? And for the first example on page 68, it has 2 times minus 2 cubed, close brackets, squared, okay? So we always want to do what's inside the curved brackets first, and then we do what's inside the square brackets, okay? So if I start this first, I'm going to have 2 times, and what's negative 2 cubed? Okay, that would be negative 8. And then that whole thing squared. Now I'm going to do what's inside the square brackets. 2 times negative 8, so that is negative 16 squared. And then negative 16 squared. Take out your calculator. 256. Okay. The second example has 7 squared plus 5 to the 0 divided by minus 5 to the 1. Okay. So start with what's inside the brackets. Okay. 7 squared is 49. 5 to the 0. Oh, what is that? It's 1. Okay. Divided by negative 5 to the 1 is just, oh, sorry, I guess we could leave that. Okay. What's inside this bracket here? This is now 50 divided by negative 5 to the 1 is just negative 5. Okay. 50 divided by negative 5 equals negative 10. Positive divided by negative is negative. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Awesome. Okay, here's a couple checks, and then I want you to give it a try. Check. 1A. Actually, let's do 1C. Okay, so 3 squared plus 6 to the 0, all squared, divided by 2 to the 1. Try it, and then let's check our answers. 3 squared is 9. 6 to the 0 is 1. And that's all squared divided by 2 to the 1. What's inside the brackets? That's 10 squared divided by 2 to the 1. 10 squared is 100. 2 to the 1 is 2. Answer is 50. Okay, right on. And let's do D. Okay, so here we have 10 squared plus 2 times 2 squared squared. What does that give us for an answer? Okay, give it a try. First we have 10 squared plus, what's inside our bracket? 2 times 4, and that's all squared. Still 10 squared. What's inside here? 2 times 4 is 8 squared. 10 squared is 100. 8 squared is 64. And we get 164. Right on. Okay, so the next couple of questions, or the next question is just a problem-solving question, and then comes the practice, which I'd like you to do. So finish remaining check questions, and then do practice on page 70 and 71, and then check your answers to the key, okay? And I like that it guides you through how to do the work at the beginning. If we were doing this on loose leaf by ourselves, you probably wouldn't show that many steps, but it's good to get an understanding for what exponents and powers mean. Okay, off you go.